in terms of what's going on in the office,
Yep.
a couple of changes, so we'll just talk about those quickly. Now Nina was with the Devils for a while, Jerry's
Yep.
wife, sales and marketing role, and I understand that she's left the company.
Yep.
Can you tell us what's going to happen now? Who will be taking up those responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, with the leaving of Kelly, September, October, I think last year, it was important for us to sort of make a quick step, and Nina was available at the time, and we made that step, and she's come in and done a great job for us, and it was important that we kept some form of communication with potential new sponsors and also on game night with current sponsors coming in. So I think that's been okay. You know, it's tough, it's tight. We've had to cut things to the bone for obvious reasons. You know, we're still in a rebuilding process. In terms of going forward, the issue is getting over the next 2 years till we go into the new stadium. Unfortunately for us, you know, we have to be realistic, you know, in terms of what we can afford to pay, you know, Nina is total quality, and we need to make sure that we can afford to pay her what she's worth, and you know that for us doesn't work, and it doesn't work for her. So you know, we're still working together behind the scenes in terms of sort of referrals and what have you, going on a shoestring budget, which is really what we've got, because all our focus is giving as much money as we can to G, because the one thing we've learnt is that we need to put the strongest side out there, because it has a direct impact on revenue streams. So that will continue. But in terms of how we've changed the office going forward, I'm hoping that Max Babrier is going to assist a day or two a week, Brent as well, and myself. We'll be the threesome, if you like, going out, seeing sponsors. We start that next week by addressing all the existing sponsors, going out to hopefully sign those people up. It's important that first couple of months, because we'll be looking at, I have a meeting with G, very important one, on the 1st of July. At the 1st of July, we'll be able to sit and evaluate where we actually are in terms of our budget. We've had a fantastic start in terms of season tickets. I mean, we're already at 530 and climbing, which is fantastic. You know, but that said, you know, we need to get over 600, which is where we were last year, excluding the sort of corporate side, and that needs to continue to grow. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be pushing 800 with season tickets and corporate season tickets. That would give us the boost that we need, along with getting our current sponsors to sign early, so we've got that commitment, and that will give us the confidence we need to maybe push that bit more in terms of player budget. In addition to that, in the office administratively, we've got Natalie Jones, who's worked with me for several years. She stepped into Cud's shoes. Cud had to leave us in a few months ago with issues with his baby, which is quite well known. He's going to be staying with us, but we're looking for him to more support Brent in the DCF role, and I think that's quite important, because we're looking at some big changes, how we can develop the whole DCF initiative and grow that and move that forward, and that plays a huge part in the future of the club going forward.
So before we talk about the DCF just a little more, so G's got a budget that you've set for him, but there's a possibility, depending on the success of sort of sponsorship and season ticket sales, that you might have that increased, is that right?
Well, it might increase or it might decrease, depending on how it goes with the over the summer. And you know, I've made it very clear to G that, you know, I am totally committed to giving him as much as we possibly can, but at the same time, you know, after 2 seasons, I'm fully aware of what the costs are of running this club. You know, the attendances last year were down quite considerably over what they were the previous year. I know that has a direct correlation with the performances of the previous year, but that said, I think, you know, we're a much more together club now, and going forward, I think, you know, it's important for us to just keep focused on our controls. We don't want to end up with, you know, Coventry have got those issues now last year that we had the year before. We've learnt our lessons. It won't happen again, unless, of course, we lose our discipline. So G's very, very aware, but that said, we're working much more together with the team in terms of our sponsors, and we're coming out the blocks, you know, in April, talking about sponsorship, where we were doing that in July, August last year.